All right, call the meeting to order. Somebody have a watch. Clock is wrong.
7:05.
7:05. Everybody rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome Martha Taylor, Town Planner, to our meeting tonight. Move right to the top of the agenda, and so we can get Martha on her way.
Well, thank you very much for having me. We talked about this a long time ago, and I'm trying to pick up on it now. This is the cultural and historic resources element for the master plan. And last time we spoke, I think at least some of you said that you might be interested in helping out with the update, which would be fabulous. The copy that you have tonight, I think, may be the same as what I handed out before, but it's a version that's been redlined by John Weiss, the chair of the planning board, and myself. Updating things as we're aware, but I'm guessing that there's probably a lot of additional information that you all could provide, and probably some things that we're not correct on. And so I would love to get your input on that. We don't need to go through it page by page tonight, but I was thinking if we could at least see who might be interested, and if anybody's willing to take certain sections of it, or if you want to work on it together, whatever works best for you.
I read about half of it already,
Oh, super.
but not with a pen.
Yeah.
I'm just reading it to see content and where it was going.
That's
And there's
wonderful.
definitely comments I had. So.
Yeah, and that would be great. And then we've got a number of tables in here. At the very end is the listing of all the resources that are in Macris. And then there are listings of properties that are on the National Register and on the State Register, and things like that. And again, you all probably know much better than we do whether those are still accurate, or things have been added to those, or if they've been fallen off somehow. But if you all could take a look at those lists and give us updates or corrections, that would be really wonderful. But there's some things on here that are, definitely they've been done. You all did the demolition bylaw, so, and you may have better language on how to describe that than we do. We took a stab at it. We know that there are, some properties that have been demolished since this was done, like the Little Zone house. So things like that. And also, go towards the end of the document, starting on page 17, there's a whole list of goals and recommended strategies. And a lot of these came out of the survey that was done before. I think the recent survey that we did, a lot of these are still relevant. But you all may have some new initiatives and thoughts on additional goals and strategies that it would be great to have reflected in here. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. And I honestly don't have any good thoughts on how best to, approach this.
Is there any one thing we need to do to go, is there anything you want to talk about more that we should start with tonight for an open discussion?
And we could, go through it page by page. I don't know if you're ready to do that.
I was probably not. I was just wondering if there was things that you had of interest.
And I think for me,
Sections you're worried about?
Yeah, the sections that I'm particularly worried about are things like the inventory of historic and cultural assets, to make sure that that's actually accurate.
Okay.
Page 9.
Yeah, 9 and following.
So Jan would probably be the person to give the update on the Macros database. We're just getting to understand how that all operates. And we've been in communication with Chris Skelly and the Macros system, and
Yeah, Carolyn's been on it a little bit too.
Okay.
She and Sue looked at all those
There's a lot of,
Byfield
just
ones.
in Byfield, I know there's a lot of homes that I've looked in the registry deeds, and then looked in Macros and they're not there. They're not even there. You know, it's not that the name of the street isn't there or something, they just weren't done. So if there's some way we can add those, fill out the forms, and take a picture, and have those added. I did go on, we went through the Byfield section, we put all street numbers.
That's right.
Because there was no street number, I don't know why they
Right, I
didn't
know.
do that.
I know.
So definitely that needs to be done probably in the whole number section too, because I don't see any street numbers.
Yeah, there are a lot of
Missing ones in there.
Right. So that would be wonderful if you all could provide the street numbers where they're missing.
Yes.
And then, as part of this process, probably we couldn't, get these things on Macros, the additional ones, but if there needs to be a listing, maybe,
They
of
do.
ones that.
Jan, do they let you, you can add to that, I mean, brand
Did it
new
the
listings?
form,
You can fill out the form and send a picture, and they'll let you
Yeah,
do
and
it.
from what I understand, I haven't had a chance to really go through all the stuff that Chris
Yeah.
pointed out to me, Chris Skelly at
Mhm.
Mass
Right.
Historical, that just everything that's in the Macros doesn't mean that these things get put on the Mass Historical listings.
Right, that's a whole other
That's-
process.
They all have to get approved before they get put there, so we need to review what's out there now.
Does-
You guys-
Does it start here, and
It's-
then
It starts,
it moves to
it
the
starts with the inventory itself, the
Yep.
forms,
Yep,
and so hence the missing properties, we have to get the forms done.
Yep.
Then they get sent in, I have to look and see exactly what the requirements are to get them to review and actually see if they qualify for the historic register. And then you can't get on the national if you're not on the state.
Okay.
So,
Yep.
we have to look at that stuff.
Well, I'd be willing to, work on the Macros part of it, yeah. Yep.
That would be super.
Mhm.
I-
I was gonna say, and again, if there are ones, properties that you would like to put on Macros, probably there isn't time to go through that whole process, but if you could identify them here.
I know you take it from
Say-
there,
say
find out
that-
what the next step is.
Right, say
Yep.
it's the commission's intention
Yep.
to
Right,
try to
okay,
do this, that would be great.
okay.
We have discussed in the past our need for help, physical help, clerical help, and maybe this should be in the report that the
Absolutely.
Historical Commission is requesting manpower. The state is asking us to update all these files. This is an enormous undertaking, and we're considerably bogged down already. Now, whether this comes in the form of a state grant or a part-time position
Or an intern.
or an intern. We started an intern thing for, earlier this year, trying to get help with the research room. Is that the correct room? The research room at
History
the,
room, yeah.
local history room at the library. But then the school came to us with the intern, but we didn't know how it became way over our head. Because it's without having to know how to deal with the intern and the paperwork and the requirements. We had to throw up our hands because we had never dealt with an intern, and neither had the library dealt with an intern. We thought it was gonna be a little easier where the school would come prepared. And all we had to really is come up with a task, but that wasn't the
Supervision
case.
requirements too that.
That wasn't the case.
Which school was providing the intern?
Jan?
It was two separate ones, right? I don't remember which ones.
Gordon.
Gordon?
The
Gordon.
information I
Gordon was
got from
one,
was
yep.
Gordon, I believe.
Gordon College. So maybe other schools would be more prepared. We need the preparation of the paperwork, the filling out of the forms, they have to have a background knowledge in historical homes
Right.
or architecture or something to that effect.
Right, so that might be something
But-
like, the BU's program, the preservation, I mean, something that's really geared towards that. So I think that might be a good goal recommendation.
So
Put
that
in
that
that
should go in
section.
here, that we
Yeah,
are definitely, we can't do it alone.
right, so what I would suggest is that you add some, whether it's in the body of the text or in the goals and strategies, some listing of the things that you are required to do by the state, whether it's, state mandated, or, the Mass Historical is asking you to do these things. Sort of what your roles and responsibilities are, and then talk about the need for additional assistance to help you meet those needs.
Okay.
So if that's listed as as an action item, then that would be something that could be worked on.
If I remember right, didn't the librarian say that she, as long as it wasn't too time consuming, could act as a supervisor for an intern for us?
Well,
She wasn't jumping up and down
Yeah,
over
but
the
that's
ideas.
to
but-
help us with the stuff that's actually at the library.
Right, the stuff that's there.
The stuff that we're talking about now is primarily the stuff that's gonna end up on Macris and
Oh,
hopefully on the state
that could be anywhere.
register, historic registry. So that's where you keep seeing all these ads if you look in the paper, or I get see emails going out all the time from the, what's that email thing we get?
Listserv, isn't it?
Yeah, listserv, thank you. All towns, they're sending out requests for people to do these, to help them, and you can get grants from the state and Mass Historical and different preservation groups to get help, but a lot of it's still gonna be town matching.
Right. But again, that would be another action item to apply for funding, identify funding sources to help.
okay.
So, and then if somebody could also just double check the listing of properties on the state register and the national register of historic places, that would be wonderful. Because those show up on pages 10 and 11. And then, if we've misstated anything under the section of town-owned cultural and historic assets, we revised the section on the Woodbridge Stone and Yellowstone, since both of those have been sold.
Yep.
So, but under the Lower Green Schoolhouse, for example, we had language saying that there was additional information to these elements. I think that's probably all been done, but.
In the chimney,
So,
some of the windows could use another coat of paint, but that's not there. Those that were redone a couple years ago.
Nice to get the shutters back
I
on.
thought they fixed the chimney.
The chimney's
As I said, the
done.
chimney's done now,
Oh.
but the windows, because the wood was so dry,
Yep.
and you should have put a primer, I think, on it first, and then the paint, because the paint's coming off in mass. The green paint on the outside.
yeah, on page 13, it starts a section called recent activity, and this is where one place we really use your help as well, because I think a number of these things are probably out of date, and again, there may be other initiatives that you're undertaking. On page 15, I don't know if you all have had any discussion about things like scenic roads that came up last time. I don't think it came up so much in the survey this time, but if you have any thoughts on scenic road, like a scenic road bylaw or something like that, whether it be useful to pursue that.
Well, the subject matter of the stone walls keeps coming up. Preservation of stone walls.
Yeah.
That's probably the hottest thing on that list. Probably not into whole scenic roads, but I don't know how other towns handle it. If they have bylaws in reference to stone walls at all.
Mass general law does. It says basically it's illegal to move one, especially if it's a property boundary. But, that being said, I think the fine for doing it is ridiculous, and it's difficult to enforce. So if we're concerned about it, probably it would be good if we did something locally. Maybe we could get town
Don't we
council.
already follow that to some extent? Haven't they already made people put stone walls back? Only if they're caught.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I think that's the issue.
Because every time we review, when they were gonna put the storage on Route 1, that was our only recommendation, that those stone boundaries, especially like at the back of the property, weren't touched.
Right.
That they had to be left and maintained.
Right, and especially if it's a property boundary.
Yeah.
It's interesting, the 280 High Road across the street from me, we put a conservation easement on that 5 acres in the back. It had never been surveyed, so all they had was a drawing of the property. And in order to do the conservation easement, we had to have it surveyed. And the surveyor come in and said, we used the stone wall, and we held the reflectors up on the stone wall, and that's what became the now is the legal boundary. So that's the importance of those things. You really see it when you realize that a lot of these
They're not just for looks.
older places are not just for looks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that development on Rome's Lane, they made back with the stone wall. They were taking it out.
Yeah.
So that comes up when somebody's doing renovations or tear downs or something, that stone wall is actually something that's talked about. So.
Yeah, or if it's a subdivision development or something like that.
Because
I didn't know that.
when they do it, it's more fancy than it was.
Right.
Yeah.
Perfect, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the old.
Mhm.
No. Can't have it.
Nope.
And on page 16, other issues and observations, I put in just a little thing here at the end about loss of historic structures. We just talked about the one on Lotus Lane, but if there are others that should be mentioned. And then it gets into the goals and recommended strategies. And if it would be at all helpful to you, I can send you the excerpt from the survey that was done. It's kind of voluminous, but I can do that so you could see some of the things. This is a survey that was done as part of the master plan. It was mostly, we got both hard copy and
What was that?
online
I'm
copy.
new to the story. What was this?
It was done, actually, I hate to say it, but almost 2 years ago now.
Okay.
And the consultant we were working with tabulated the survey results, and then also wrote up
Survey
all.
meaning you asked people what they wanted in their town?
Yeah,
What they
so-
wanted capital, what they thought was important?
That?
Yeah, this.
There you go. It is what, look at the size of it.
So,
Yeah, I think it crashed Nancy's computer when she.
and there were some targeted questions, and then there were also some opportunities for free response. And so they, tabulated both. there's some demographic questions like, what part of town do you live in?
How many responses did you have to your
I
note?
think we got 300 some others, but about 350 responses.
Pretty small town.
Yeah, yeah. And it was good, you know, some of them were a little off the wall, but a lot of them were really thoughtful.
How many show up to vote?
Right, what they liked about it?
Yeah.
Was it just random, or you sent it out to every home, and this is what you get back?
We launched it at Springtown meeting, actually a year and a half ago, I guess it was. So we announced it, we had hard copies. And then we also did make it available online.
Okay,
So
so
people could do it, you know, one way or the other. We had copies at Town Hall and the library for people to pick up. And if they did it online, then it just automatically went to the consultant and they compiled it. The hard copies we kind of compiled ourselves and gave that to them. So,
So you sent that in February, so we should be able to just reshoot it.
yeah,
Excuse me.
I would have to re-find it unless you still have the computer
I'm
file.
sure it's in the historical commission email.
Okay, okay.
How do you ever delete that?
That would be great. The one thing I could. This list of questions as well. So that might also help trigger a few thoughts that you have. Other goals that other people are pursuing. And definitely anything that's a mandate coming down to you. Should be included somewhere. So that's pretty much it.
And what period of time do we have? What are we working on for time span?
Well, that was my next question. I mean, would it be doable to think about getting together again in a month at your next meeting and seeing where you all are?
I don't know. I don't know how much we'll be able to get done that quick. We'll see what we, I don't know. We'll have to check with Jan, see if members can work on it on their own.
How does this work? So we work on it on our own, but when I get back together again to rewrite it, does it have to be an open meeting?
Yeah.
We'll just do it during our meeting, yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So the only time we'd be able to get together again would be our next meeting, even if we've all reviewed it independently.
And we could try to do an interim, which is what we tried to do before, but scheduling ended up being a bit of an issue for everybody. And we could try to do an interim meeting. I'd be happy to sit down with you, or if you want to, feed comments to me via email, that would be fine, but it would be good to make sure that you all are in agreement on those comments.
So I mean, we could review it independently, but we should all put our comments on the table and then select from those.
Yeah, maybe we can just get, if everybody can at least try to do a little bit, spend an hour or two on it, before the next meeting. If you guys all can send me something like a Word document or just noting the sections that you're in, what page it is on the one that she just gave us, so we're all on the same page.
I read it in 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And I didn't
it's the
realize I
thinking
got
about
to
it
the
that
end.
takes long.
The tables at the end. They were just the tables listed, yeah.
Right.
Then I can try to maybe
But
compile
I didn't
it
make
all
any
together.
comments, that's another hour, yeah.
And unless somebody else would like to do that. And then we'd have something ready to, at least send to you, if not have you at another meeting.
That would be wonderful. And then whatever comments you have, if they're in Word format, then I can just plug them back into the original.
Okay.
First settlers burial grounds, that should, see if that needs to be updated, that'd probably go to Barbara.
Okay.
and she can fill that in.
Yeah, that was the other question I had for you, if there are other,
12,
Page five.
12.
if there are other assets that are listed in here that I should go talk to somebody else about. That's good to know for that one.
What about, well, I guess that's the cemetery that they're having trouble getting updated up here, and taken care of. That's not really town business, because the town doesn't own that.
The
First parish.
First parish.
The town doesn't own it, but it's still, it still has historic significance.
They have not been cooperative with the church. The selectmen have not cooperated with the church. But it still should be included.
It should be, yeah,
Should be
there's
an item.
yeah, it should be an item, something that's called out as needing attention. And that's another place where perhaps some grant funding could help.
I read most of this, but something like the trustees' cultural report that they do on their properties, they don't necessarily, they're not reflected in ours. Is that something worth looking into, Greenbelt and whoever, their cultural reports, and at least adding them to the inventory?
That's a good, yeah, that would be a good
Because,
idea.
yeah, because there's a lot of stuff that, because, they own it.
Right,
We don't.
right, right. Some of it will be cross-referenced. We still have the natural resources one to do, and since a lot of that's open space, it'd be cross-referenced there. But some of them are kind of historic landscapes as well, so it doesn't hurt to mention it at all.
So what other agencies other than Historic New England cover houses or land?
Fish and Wildlife,
Okay.
I mean, it's probably, you think about it, that's, there's.
Now, what about the Parker River watershed? Is there information there
Yeah, I
that
think
should
that's,
be
It mentions a
in this?
couple of the different groups that are in the, that are in Newbury.
right,
That,
right.
that are responsible for different things like Parker River watershed.
So maybe something,
It mentions them in here someplace, I don't remember what it was.
their report maybe should be added to this too. You can get something from them.
Perhaps, that might be something that would fit more neatly into the natural
Okay.
resources. But I think it's good to identify.
Now, with that, how about Greenbelt? We have quite a few Greenbelt locations too, where they have, like on Main Street, in
Well,
Byfield, they have the big field, but they have an easement or whatever you call them.
I imagine
Yeah.
you can, if they've done a cultural report themselves, I imagine you could get access to it.
They've got a list, I'm sure, yeah, of everyone they own.
I've got the trustees one, but,
Yeah.
I don't know, some of
See
them-
see what they have listed.
And maybe a report from governors. I mean, most of their construction is new, but I think there was some restoration renovation there. See what I see if there's a historic contact there as far as what they've updated. I mean, it's continually acquiring additional houses.
Right.
Most of them are
right.
historic.
Right, that's a good thought. I know that some of their houses are listed on Macris. But yeah, that's a good thought, since they are definitely a historic asset in town. And I don't think we really talk about that too much. Yeah, I mentioned, but
Page 14.
Where is it? 14?
page 14, it's not two-thirds of the way down, but it's just, just a paragraph.
Oh.
If you ever wanted photographs for this, the new sign, well, not so new, because it's already peeling, but down at Mill Village, down at the Parker River Dam. That's a good photo opportunity there.
Yeah, we're looking for photo ops.
So that's lots of information right on one sign. We put that up about 8 years ago, I think.
No, that would be great, yeah, a couple of our planning board members have been going around and taking photographs, so compiling a whole of those, so if you have thoughts on any other good ones, that'd be great.
I think I have a picture of something that you could take a shot of just to the sign, nothing, area or nothing.
All right.
Even that as a placeholder would be. I
On
don't
my
know.
digital, like, so I can just, watch it and let the photo.
That'd be great. We may not be able to use all of them,
Here's the list.
Page 19, strategy 3.3, the subject of neighborhood conservation districts. Occasionally, the subject of Lower Green keeps coming up. So maybe we'd want to bump that up to being discussed.
Yeah, it's actually, we're talking about local historic district.
Where we have one around the Upper Green, to consider something on Lower Green.
You have to check the information from Macris and why why we have to get that through. A lot of this has been done, and it just sat there,
That was just to get it on the list, I think.
but it's not on the list.
Right,
It's on the
I know.
Macris list,
Right.
but it's not on the historic registry, a lot of this stuff, so.
Doesn't provide any
all
protection.
right, so would that be the thought, to actually try to get the Lower Green on the state and national register as well, like the Upper Green?
We're actually down
There's
to
been
trying to get the
questions.
local historic district out, so there's actually some teeth in the protection. You can bulldoze one on that list.
No, I know.
You gotta
Questions
wait
have
9
been
years
raised,
to do
what
it.
can we do to preserve the Lower Green? So our answer has been to inquiries is to, we need to consider a district on the Lower Green.
Yeah.
We haven't gone any further than that with it.
I've talked to some of the neighbors there about whether they'd be willing to put their house in it, because you'd have to do that cooperatively, I think.
Yeah, all the neighbors would pretty much have to be in agreement.
Yeah.
Which would include the Doleville house, and my house, and Joy's, and probably the one in the corner, I can't think of his name now. Yeah, all the ones that are right around, abutting the green there. Ones that have been there since 1800.
Yeah.
Kenny?
No, the one in the corner, the older apartment. Yeah.
Humphreys.
Nancy knows all the names. You can count on Nancy for the Lower Green information for
Yeah.
sure.
Just to get something.
But that doesn't still preserve it. All
It does as a local historic district.
Yeah, but it's,
Putting it on the list doesn't preserve it.
yeah.
No, but if you did.
If you actually did the local historic district.
That would have the most teeth, the conservation district.
And we can get the selectmen to approve it.
Well, that would be, yeah, there were discussions about that in the past,
And I don't know why you wouldn't do that. I mean, God, you got a bunch of 200-year-old houses. I mean, who would want to see that knocked over?
I mean, if you
Painted
didn't go
purple.
with a local conservation district,
far up,
at
no.
least doing like we did on the Upper Green is make it get on the national listing.
Said it
So
had.
then any changes would come under more scrutiny with demolition delay, would automatically
right.
kick in and would give it teeth because it is on the national. But of course, we'd have to get it to Macris, to state, to national first.
Right.
So,
So even the Lower Green itself is not on,
Nothing.
The National Historic Registry.
Right.
Has no protection.
So that's the work that's already been started, and I don't know why it got stalled. I didn't realize all this until I was digging through a whole lot of papers that were stuffed in different places.
Now, was that just what's
People
been in
were
Demacris
filed
now,
in
is
the-
just the schoolhouse or the whole
The
Lower
Lower
Green?
Green and the schoolhouse were put up to be put on the the Mass Historic Registry, and it never moved.
But none of the bordering houses were listed?
No, there was no
Okay.
district set up, to the best of my knowledge.
And when was that started to?
75,
Okay.
I think.
You think your master plan's going slow. I think that's before I was born.
No, not 1875, 1975.
Seems like it.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions for Martha? Anything else? All right, we'll see what we can do.
That would be wonderful. I really appreciate your time and your effort.
All right.
Well, we appreciate yours, Martha, because I know personally how hard you work for the town.
Thank you.
That wasn't too bad.
And I'd be happy to come back. When is your next meeting? November?
We're usually the second Thursday.
Second Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'd be happy to
Give
come
me a
back
date.
then and go through it, and comments that you have, or whatever works best for you all.
9th.
Yeah.
Oh, great. The great marsh pursuance.
Oh, that's right.
That's the night of our meeting. Okay, that's right.
Well, we
That's
can
where I was
always-
gonna be.
Well, I
Maybe
think
not.
it's
Well, we can
around
push it if we have a reason.
Yeah,
Push it
that's over
back.
around 3:30, I think, the Great Marsh.
Oh, it's over at 3:30? Oh, okay.
3:30 or 4, yeah.
Okay. I'm doing that for storms.
All right, well,
Okay.
thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Martha.
Really appreciate it.
She's not gonna get to listen to my treasurer's report.
Run, Martha.
This is your chance.
So no minutes, meetings?
No, sorry.
Okay. Treasurer's report.
Okay. Treasurer's report. Okay, so this is, when I printed this out this morning, it's already out of date. I went over to the schoolhouse and picked up $150 after I printed this out and have deposited that in our gifts account. So as of this morning, this is correct, but as of tonight, it's 150 off. But, basically, nothing's really changed to any great extent. The commitments for the general account for the porta potty are the same as they were. You suggested we keep it till the end of the month, so I called Wilkins it up, and we'll just leave it there 2 more weeks. So it'll be out of there November 1st. And right now, we just signed an invoice, so he's not behind on his invoices. He sends me his invoices usually about 3 or 4 days after our meeting. So they automatically are a month late right off the bat. But, well, we've got the 2 of them paid. We just submitted, we'll be submitting one tomorrow. And we still have effectively then $925 available that we could spend out of our general account. If you go look at the books, it's $12.85 because the known charges that are out there haven't come through yet. Gifts and donations, like I said, it's at $13.50 and 60 cents, and I deposited $150. So you guys had a good 3 weeks.
I had a great
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah,
And I had a great Sunday the week before.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
cranking it in.
yeah.
Good.
And I was there Saturday, and no one. I
This
was there 2
Saturday.
hours, I didn't get one person, 2 hours.
Not this Saturday.
No, Saturday before, yeah.
Right.
The one I did, yeah, before I
2
left.
Saturdays ago.
Yeah. So that's up to then 1550, so that comes up to $1,500.60 is what the actual balance is. And then the special article fund, we haven't touched that in 2 years. So that's sitting there at $4,186, giving us a total of effective available money that we could be spending of $6,462.08. And if you go to the bank account and look it up, it should be 6822.08. So we've got money to spend, and we should probably get an evaluation for the map, see what it might cost to fix it. I have a feeling I'm gonna be very surprised when that number comes back.
You won't be. It might be that whole amount.
That's what I mean. We're gonna be very surprised at how much it's gonna be. So we'll have to decide then if it makes sense. And then Jan wanted to get some, we need to talk a little bit yet. I still don't think I still don't know what size boxes to buy. And
I know, I guess
tissue
we
paper,
need
what are you
to
talking
see
about?
them.
Something like a roll of tissue paper, do you
Well,
think?
the
Or-
sheets that are there now really just make it into those little black boxes.
Okay,
So you can't like really just like wrap
so I'll
a
get
big
something like
item.
that that's maybe folded, and then you can unfold it.
Yeah,
They
something.
have roll. You can do the roll.
Could do a roll, and then you could just, the thing is, then you gotta, what do you do with the roll?
Well, we got the little storage area there.
No, but we'll have to keep ripping it.
You have scissors.
It wouldn't be hard to do
Buy
that,
some
but how do you keep
scissors.
it, keeping it clean is gonna be,
With the $4,000, buy some scissors. Put it in a pillowcase.
it's not a
when
bad
you're not
idea.
using it.
It's okay. I've got one at home.
I
So that's the treasurer's report. And these are based on real numbers. I did go over this, this time and actually get our first actual accounting for this year. And we were right on, because it's not that hard to add and subtract.
Did you empty the money box?
I didn't take the change out. Everything else, all the cash is gone.
That's 150 he deposited.
That's 150 I deposited. I rounded it up. I threw in some extra money.
Oh, there's a-
Just it's easier.
I didn't-
Yeah, I just left those. I didn't want to take those and drop them on the counter. Okay,
Oh, we need postcards.
what's that?
The postcard,
Yeah, the postcard I meant.
and I,
Now, which one is that? That's
I
the one
had it
of
with
the
me,
photograph
but now
of
I
the
can't
teacher?
find it.
That's the one of the school?
Inside the
Inside
school
the
with the
schoolhouse
teacher,
with-
it's like from the back of the room to the front.
Yeah, right, okay, that's
We
what I
should
thought it
probably
was.
have it redone, because we've got 2 students there now.
You
Could
get
do
too
that.
attached to them.
I'll try. It's probably pretty hard to take a photograph in there without bringing your own lights.
No, I think,
Because
I
of
don't
the
think,
light coming in the windows.
I don't think Chris did. I
Okay,
think
well,
he,
he's harder than me.
I don't think he had special
I'll
equipment.
try.
I've got the big floodlights if we need to bring them in.
That's what I think we're gonna need. In other words, provide enough light in the room that what's coming in the windows isn't gonna override it.
Now, what about the cards and the stationery that Chris made, that we originally did? Is that any of that sold?
Cards.
Did we ever,
What are you
Oh,
speaking
I don't
of?
think that ever came to pass.
we never did that. That was just a test thing?
Yep,
Okay.
Does anyone have it?
What is it?
no, I don't believe so. I think it was lost with his computer.
No, I mean physically have any of it.
No,
No. Okay.
I don't,
I had
No.
one of
Did you
the, I
not
had one of
take
the
one?
cards.
I may have.
I think I was still kind of new and I didn't want to seem like I was too aggressive, so I didn't take any, but I
I'll
thought
look.
you did, but
I'll look.
What kind of cards are they?
Postcards, like
postcards.
little fold,
Oh,
you know,
note cards?
they're not postcards, but
Oh, like you'd write a note and
Yep.
mail it off. Thank you
Thank you
for,
note.
thank you for the Christmas present. Okay.
It's got the schoolhouse on it.
The schoolhouse on the front.
I think it's laying on my desk somewhere. I'll look
Okay.
and see. But there was different things he was gonna do.
Because we were
Wasn't
gonna-
there a postcard?
There were-
I mean, I think we
Yeah.
ought to consider maybe a postcard or
well, he
something.
did 2 postcards, one of the outside of the school and one of the school inside
Okay,
with the teacher.
maybe that's what I have.
And there's none in the closet?
Okay, I have I've seen the inside one. I don't,
Not
I
that,
may have
not
seen
that
the
one.
outside too, actually.
Yeah, it's there.
Because there's some postcards, which there's
Yeah.
not, I don't think a lot of those left either.
Right.
And then there's the note cards
Those I'm not sure if I've seen.
that are the outside of the schoolhouse. They're the same picture. One of them's a note card, one of them's a postcard.
Oh, so it's just printed on the cover and it opens up?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
So maybe,
those have envelopes tucked. Some of
Okay.
those were out on the table all the time. There was a stack of those still in the back of the
I'll look in
closet.
the closet again.
But there's not too many of the actual postcard one of the outside, and there's like this many, maybe, like 10 maybe, of the inside of the school picture. The others, I didn't really check on, the short house and a couple of the other things.
Let me try and take a
Those are
picture, and if
old-
it's no
yeah,
good, I'll send you an
old
email.
that he found
My
somewhere.
guess is that the light coming in the windows is gonna just completely override everything.
So should we go look into ordering postcards again if they were a success?
Well, people, it was hard to say that's $1 or that's 50 cents or whatever. People put a donation in the box, I let them have a card. I don't know.
Yeah.
In our store, we charge $1 for all the new postcards of town, $1. It's like boom, 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 boom.
Well,
boom,
yeah,
boom.
but you're a
But-
going concern, we're not, we
Yeah.
can't charge for things. We can only ask for donations.
We can't?
No, I didn't
No.
know that.
I did not know that.
It's in the list of, Chris gave me when I first went to go down the schoolhouse, he had a list of how to do the schoolhouse, how to do the lock, about cleaning it, about how to open the windows with care, and all that, and it said, make a suggestion, which is why we have the price list there that says suggested donation. So now whether that's some kind of specific law, he must have looked that up, I don't know.
Well, it's easy enough because that money's going right back to buy the postcards again.
Right.
Right.
So,
Well,
me
I
a-
think I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, let me ask you a question. Can you sell them someplace else? I mean, like, say you put them in the mini mart, and he sold them there, and he took a little, he took 10 cents on it, and you got 90, whatever. Is that still considered a sale, or
I
is it still a
guess we'll
donation?
probably just stick with what we
Yeah.
If
got.
you do that, you have to charge tax,
Forget
and
it.
then you have to file a
Yeah,
tax.
yeah,
return.
yeah,
That's what
yeah,
they're doing.
So,
I say
let's
that.
keep it simple.
Yep.
So if we're out of postcards, then let's surf the World Wide Web and figure out where
I
the,
mean, they're not literally postcards. They don't have a place for stamping stuff on the back, do they? I don't recall that.
Well, it doesn't matter.
No, they're just like made out of cardstock, so
Yeah. It's
there's
real. I
probably
can have
no
those
reason
printed,
we
just
can't
make
get them
a
made
phone call and
locally
send
unless
them
we're
a
gonna
file.
get
That's easy.
thousands of them,
well, that's how to do it cheap.
That's
Yeah.
easy to have those printed.
so.
Right. I got the name of the company that did all my three trifolds, card rack trifolds there in Florida.
Yeah, 'cause
I'm
we
sure
were gonna
there's
get-
I
others.
should just go to any
Like
of the
a-
printers here locally.
We were gonna get like a
Just a
countertop
worldwide
spinner or
much
something
cheaper.
too, weren't we?
Oh, okay.
He was talking about that when he was doing all those
different-
things.
with
Well, it would
different
be better
scenes,
than
huh?
what we have, I think,
Yeah,
a little rack,
a little rack,
Postcard rack,
yeah.
something.
you can get one.
We can put it on one end of the table, on the far end of the table, instead of having the stuff all spread all over the place. Sometimes people
Actually,
just,
Lon could probably whip something up.
Yeah, I've been a weld one.
Right on Flea Bay.
We have
Right on
a,
Flea Bay and
we
Bible.
have a
What's it
guest
called?
list.
Flea Bay.
we need to get, I need to get either get a new guest book, or, there's another one in the desk that was a previously used one that's still got a lot of space in the back, so.
Oh, I think we should get
Get a new one? Must be the flu shot.
All right, we better get moving here, we got a lot to do.
Well, I'll check and see what's there and what it might take to reproduce it or produce a new one. I've got tons of school pictures of the school that are good with, green with color,
Yes.
fall colors and
Yes, can
trees.
we do the guest first?
Yes,
What's it, 110 Main Street?
Yes.
Ah,
Hello, guest.
Hello. I'm Jackie. I don't, I'm assuming that's Jan down there. I think I spoke with you in
Hi.
the lawn.
yep.
Nice to meet you both in person. I know I briefly spoke with both of you. So yeah, I was just curious about what the potential restrictions would be on 110 Main Street. It's,
It was built in 1875, and the addition you want to add on to was built in 1987.
okay.
So, but it does have the trustees have a conservation easement against the house and the property, so she's gonna have to work with them.
okay. So the
Don't don't know.
The existing,
very well.
the current owner had to work with the trustees to put on what you want to add on to,
Okay,
so he knows how to do it.
okay.
Good.
And so the trustees are a separate organization from this one?
Yes, yeah, they're the ones that hold the conservation easement against the house on the property.
Okay,
We have a demolition delay bylaw that if your house meets the criteria, and you want to tear the back of it off, then we decide, yeah, go ahead and do it, or give us 9 months to research it, or, so we could really, slow you down, but it automatically applies to anything older than 1824, which don't fit. But it is a very unique site, and we probably would have to do a discussion before we buy off on that, but.
The trustees cover that.
Trustees will cover.
In their cultural, their report,
Yeah,
is significant,
yeah,
because of the history that it has, and the fact that it hasn't been estimated. So you can look at their report to see how they classify it.
yeah.
could you tell me where I would find that? It's on
I
their
would go,
website or
I'm
their?
hoping, because I just said this for the other thing that we're doing. The trustees reservations website, I imagine would have their cultural report for that area, for their Old Town Hill reservation. When I read the report, and they consider that property significant, extremely significant, actually.
Nick Metcalf built that to it.
No.
But that was 87, that's a while ago.
It would be, which is part of the reason why I'm trying to understand all of this, it would matter greatly to us, whether or not there are restrictions. And again, we would not be looking to like tear the property down or anything, but we do have 2 small children and a large extended family, and so having a slightly bigger kitchen than what's there now is something that we would.
Yeah, their report is just, really affect the trustees report. Affect the one property, it just, lists the historical, historical.
Right, and which is what I love about the house. I mean, you walk in and it's a very spectacular house.
I'm right across the way from you,
Oh,
from
okay.
there, and if you ever want all the history on that house, I've got it.
Yeah, I would
And,
love
yeah,
love
because
to
my
hear.
grandfather, actually, 2 of my grandfathers lived and ran that mill,
Oh, okay.
so I've got all that.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful home and it's a beautiful space, and there's just so much about it, but also, the barn is
And its
pretty cool.
elevation is enough
Yeah,
for,
exactly,
for storms.
yeah. But we would want to, restore the barn at some point, and this is all very down the road with time, but for, it would be a very long-term home and a long-term investment for us, and so we would want to know that at the very least, as long as we're able to work with the proper committees, that we would be able to do that, or, rather than just like nope, you can't touch the property. And that's something that I don't have a full understanding of.
I think they're the ones that she's gonna have to deal with, not us.
There's a restriction.
The information's on the deed.
What kind of room is that?
So from what I understand, it's actually the current owners already put an addition on the property, and so the addition, where the kitchen is now, is the previous addition. So we would just be looking to sort of bump it out, just make it wider in one direction. So, and it would be in the direction not toward the marsh and not toward the front of the house either. It would basically be to the back of the property.
So you're not gonna tear down that addition?
Oh, no. It would not, I don't know the construction terms, but basically where the end of the house ends, we'd basically take that off and bring it back further. And that would be about it, so just
But it's
sort
2
of-
stories there, though, right?
It is, yeah, so I don't even
So you
know.
probably would have to do if you moved it out, you'd have to put a roof or some sort of, you could change the
Right.
roof line.
Exactly, and I don't even know if we'd have the desire to go all the way up and out,
Yeah.
if it would just be the kitchen
Probably.
space and then create
This-
something architecturally
This is
appropriate.
just what they got through doing across the street from me at 280, where they had a 1946 entryway and bathroom, because there was no indoor bathroom in the house. And they tore that off, and we gave them permission to do that, because that was $17.99 for the house. And then they went back out, made the kitchen bigger for the same reason, made the kitchen bigger, put the bathroom down there, and then put a farmer's porch around the rest of it. So they've got a one-story roof coming off the side of the house. I don't know if you remember, I bought the plans and one day for the owner.
So looks like where you need to start is Registry of Deeds in Salem, which is all online.
Yeah.
So you should be able to get a copy if
I
Jan
do
gave.
have the deed, and I did look at it, it just wasn't clear to me what it meant.
Okay.
So,
So that didn't involve us,
okay,
so you'll have to get if anything else, a land lawyer to look at that deed and get an exact opinion of what can be done on it.
okay,
As far as long as you're not doing any demolition, then it won't involve us.
okay. And what do you define as demolition? Do you mind my asking? I just don't know, like, what, like you're,
Removing or destroying any
Got it.
part of
Okay.
the building.
got it,
But she's gonna have to open up the wall to move it out, and I would imagine it's a rock foundation in the basement,
it is, yes.
so you won't be
Partially
doing
into it.
that, so you'll be pouring a foundation below that to move it out. I had to do the same thing to my
So
house.
basically,
small.
we're concerned with destroying historic or architecturally significant part of the house. We would be an objection to.
If you go out on the town website,
But it was
Jackie,
built
and
in
look at the
1987.
historical commission, you'll see what we have is called the Demolition Delay bylaw.
Yes,
And that spells out all the details that Janning's telling you, so
okay,
sometimes it's just easy to think while you're reading about it than having
For sure.
people throwing all kinds of new information at you at the same time. And then I gave you those two sheets, it gives you a little bit of information about, what this historic preservation trust and things are I got these off the web. We haven't really had to deal with this group,
okay,
prior to this, in detail. So that's, I believe what I said to you is like, we just need to get a handle on, we don't really have to deal with it that much, so. But it gives you an idea of what some of these things mean too, so helps with some of the terminology probably, so.
but it sounds like a general answer is people do these sorts of things, but it just needs to be done in a way that's appropriate for
Yeah.
the time of the home and the space and the surroundings. Is that
Yeah.
a fair?
The idea there is to maintain the character of the
Right.
house.
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
think that's what you stated in your email, that's what you
Right.
want to do.
Well,
And then you're gonna
absolutely.
also have to deal with the town on the Conservation Commission, building, all of that to pull permits
Yep.
and go through, meetings with them and get permissions for things, so. it's
They'll have
a-
to get a demolition permit,
big
because they're gonna have to tear the rock
involved
foundation out, and they're gonna have to take the side of the building off, so you'll need a demolition. And then we sign off on that regardless, any demolition.
Should be a problem, it's just gonna be a lot of people.
Right, yeah, which is, I mean, I live in a historic area now, and I went through this, a different type of thing, but I'm in downtown Boston, and the building that I'm in is considered historic, and changing out windows was like a year-long,
An active.
year-long thing, yeah. But it happened, it's just, you have to go through the proper channel, so I've done similar work to this, I just wanted to start to get a sense of what it might look like and who the right people are to speak to and all of that.
Whoever holds the conservation, what do you call it?
Restriction.
Okay.
Is I guess you should probably contact.
Start with that.
I thought I heard it was the trustees.
Yeah, and
But
that
it's-
exactly is spelled out in the deed, who,
Yeah, who holds it?
Okay.
because it was done, the deed prior to that,
Right.
prior to the one they have now.
It looks like it, yes, so
Yeah.
it
So-
existed before the current owners
Yeah, if you
purchased
look at the
property.
last
Yeah.
page of the deed, it will say where it was recorded previously, and then
Okay.
you just punch those page and, book numbers on the state system, and it will pop the next deed up, and it gives all the boundary lines and
Yeah.
everything, and explains where it was.
Okay,
So I thought I brought some, but I didn't,
no worries.
so it's been kind of a crazy week.
Thank you all for your help, I
You're very
appreciate it.
welcome.
Hopefully you won't be getting a flurry of emails from me. I'm sorry I was late to the meeting.
Oh, that's okay.
More traffic than I thought.
You were the last
I did
item
come
on
from
the
Boston,
agenda.
I was gonna say traffic in Newbury?
I left at
Not
5:30 and that wasn't still enough time. I thought I was gonna leave myself enough time,
Where
but
were you coming from?
downtown Boston.
Oh, yeah, well, there you go. All traffic's heading north after 3 o'clock in the
It's
afternoon.
not our fault.
Off the top of my head, I think it's Pearson family in their mills.
Okay.
It was probably published, so I'm not sure how available it is. I'm not even sure the town library has one, but there's a great account in there of how that hill came to be.
Okay.
The original house was actually across the street. The little brown houses, that's where it started.
Okay.
But it's a nice little, if you can't find it, I have a copy at home. I can run it off later.
Okay.
But it really gives a nice history of how that all came together.
I'll have to look for it. Yeah, I would be very interested in that, so. Yeah, it's a very unique home and it's quite lovely there, so there's a lot that we love about it. But also a lot we should understand about it before we.
I think it's a great picture.
Have you finalized the sale?
No, so we're not under contract with the property or anything. We decided to make sure that we had a thorough understanding of what it means to own a historic home with restrictions before, we moved forward with anything. And so, I know it's a little odd to do it that way, but.
No, it makes sense to do it that way.
Yeah, we felt it was appropriate and, so that's hopefully, at some point we'll be the owners of the home, but.
Good.
Thank you. I appreciate all of your help and time.
Shouldn't be so bad going back.
No, going back is easy. I mean, we've,
You're gonna do this every day if you're not.
no, that would not be the intention at all. Yeah, so, which I will kindly remind my husband when I get home that that's just not, it's not possible. So,
Good.
yes.
Train isn't too bad a ride.
Exactly. If he decided to commute, I have flexibility to work sort of remotely if I need to, but he would, if he commuted, he would take the train and probably only commute a few days a
And
week.
over there, you got two choices. You can go either way. You
Yeah.
could go over to the Raleigh line, or
Raleigh,
Yeah, there's pretty close connections to both. So.
that's the one my son takes.
Okay. And it's probably a little bit shorter from there too, if you.
He's in Byfield, so he still goes over there from Byfield. Well, Georgetown, I guess. He's the first.
Right in the
house.
line.
Right in the line. First house in
Yeah.
Georgetown.
Well, thank you all.
Thank
Have a
you.
nice very evening.
Good luck. Nice to meet you.
Thanks, nice meeting you too.
He doesn't seem to mind the commute too much.
No?
Okay, we're gonna sort of go in a scattered order here. Let's try to get this done. Next thing is an email in reference to Byfield Methodist Church record books. We've been solicited by what I think is a book dealer that has somehow become in possession of 11 record books that he sent me a photograph of that are from the Byfield Methodist Church, spanning from the 1800s up until close to present. They're called meeting records. Do you have it there? Thank you. I mean, some of them, this is one page out of one of the books.
Selling.
Put that fancy writing.
Selling.
Who is selling?
This gentleman,
So we
you have the piece of paper here that says
How did he get them?
EME Church Corporation, this thing, this is what we're talking about, this is the
So
email.
I contacted Heidi Fram, was the first person I could think of in reference to the books. She says all books and documents were forwarded to Boston and they were sent to BU for permanent storage. She doesn't know if somebody had these for safekeeping or somehow there was an oversight but had no further information. I've sent a request to Rusty, which was also from Byfield Methodist, and I have not heard back yet. So, word across here, as far as, I don't know how he became to own them.
Could there be two sets?
By the looks of these books, they're fairly old.
Because even the old sets, I mean,
Were they
for
a
fire
yearly,
sets, are always
one for
two
each
sets.
year
Well,
type
what
thing?
what
or-
Heidi told me was that the church was moved from where
Yes.
where it is now, prior to Main Street. Then it was moved back again to where it is currently.
Mhm.
And while it was being moved, somebody probably took records home to keep them safe during the move. And she said that it got moved next to the Blue Bonnet House.
That's the corner of Moody in Maine.
Okay, and that, while the church was being built, and I guess the building that they were in is now an apartment building?
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
So
I know-
the
I know
question
she
was
called
whether
it
the
that.
stuff maybe
Yes.
got left there, because it was old
Oh.
stuff, because he's talking 1830s to 1920s. So the stuff that Heidi would have sent was current,
Oh, yeah.
like 1900 after
She
the
actually
20s.
showed me one of the records books she had my brother's names in it because they were baptized there, so that was the 50s. So, yeah, I don't know where the ones from that period would have come
So,
from. Did
so-
you talk price?
yes, $395.
That's all?
So,
You got money.
Absolutely.
I think that I would I guess how they got there, where they got there, it's a part of our town's history, and we need to get them back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The method of buying them back, I'm not in objection to. I would entertain a motion to have Lon contact this book dealer. If he will invoice us, then we will, through the correct payment system that the town uses, to purchase the books.
And once we purchase them, where are we going to store them?
In our book storage system,
Facility.
somewhere
The black
safer
boxes
than,
that I'm gonna buy.
because, yeah, Lon's boxes, whatever,
We'll
I
figure
mean,
it out. How big are they? You saw one. How big is it?
Yeah, I was thinking about
they're,
there
they're
too.
just size of a
How big is the box?
Just store them anyway.
How big is the book?
I don't know.
8.5
You said
by
you saw
11.
Oh, 8.5 by 11?
Yeah, so they're not
So
big.
it's like picture size.
Okay.
And they're thick?
In
I
multiple
sent you
years.
the email
11, did he say?
with the pictures.
11 years?
No, 11, was it?
11 books.
11 books, I don't know if it's 11 years.
Oh,
or
so
not.
this isn't like,
It's
it's
not
not like
massive.
it's 7 boxes of books.
Right.
Did you not see the email? You might not have been here when I sent it, but I sent an email, and it's with this guy, this church records on it.
Okay.
And it has, what did it have, 11 or something
11, yeah.
attachments?
Okay.
11 books and meetings, and it shows you
Oh, and you got a
them,
picture of
and
each
this
one?
is the one picture that I printed,
Okay.
just,
Okay,
So this can't be too bad.
Email that to us, you said?
yeah.
When?
but we didn't get the attachments.
I don't know if I mailed it to you, I mailed it to the board,
Okay.
the treasurer, the
So,
four of us, just
mean-
to
Now, what do you want
be
to take it
aware
out
of
of? Do you want to take it out of the general fund, which we didn't spend all of last year and gave back? Or do you want to take it out of the,
where would we be normally buying the books from? General fund, right? If we're buying a book for the library, it would come out of general, right?
I think you should see if it's negotiable.
I was just gonna ask that, does he have any wiggle room?
Is it $93.95?
Bartering?
But Matt, is that set in
Right.
stone?
$395?
Yeah.
Is that set in stone?
Yeah.
Oh,
Only because how many other people are gonna wanna buy them? You know,
Flinch,
I think
that's
that's
the auction
Yeah, it's
business.
true.
You flinch and then you'll be sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's-
too late
I
now.
don't think that's a good idea.
$395 is not
Yeah,
going
it's-
to break
it's
us.
not a whole
I'm just
lot.
trying to figure out
I
where to
was
put, what
surprised.
account to take it out of, and I can just take it out of the general account. Because
Can
we have
get
no
somebody to make
commitments.
this
We have
motion?
$925.
I make a motion that we have Lon contact Mr.
Casavana,
Casavada,
yeah,
who is offering us to sell us the
Is all the contact information
11
in the
meeting
email?
books.
All the contact information's in your email?
It's in my email, because I forwarded his email,
Okay. Oh, okay.
so that we can keep the Byfield books in Byfield.
I'll do that tomorrow.
Jan makes the motion, do I have a second?
I second?
On the second, Caroline on the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Ob- Objections? So be it. All right.
looking at buying my great-great-grandfather's will, which is this thick, and,
For who?
partner's will.
Who has it? It's
Yeah,
a long story.
okay, yeah, the mails go this way, the books go that way, so I can't
Yeah.
tell you.
Yeah.
But, no blood relationship anymore over there, and her mother died and she found it in the attic.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, and it's gonna be thousands. So this looks, if I can get it for this.
Yeah, it looks like a bargain.
This looks like a real bargain to
Yeah.
me.
Under
But
old
it's leather
business,
bound.
old business, where are we with the haystack?
I am waiting for Mr. Colby to contact me when he feels that the conditions are okay.
Okay.
I may have to call him again, but I think we may have to wait until next year.
Were you contacting? Which was?
Colby.
Who were you contacting?
Robert Colby Jr.
Colby.
Bubba. Uncle Bubba.
Still on my to-do list, I gotta get a hold of the lady from the Moody family for the interview. Gotta get that done.
FYI, in case you guys didn't see it, I sent an email to Doug Packer just to make sure that there was nothing we needed to do in order to rebuild those haystacks with the town, just in case. And he said, absolutely not, they've already been rebuilt. And Nancy, because Nancy had suggested we might want to just double check. And he said he appreciated the fact that we actually thought to contact and ask him that, so that was good points for us.
Okay, Mr. Mapmaker, do we have a report?
I've already got balled out once today for this. I haven't gotten to it yet. It's gonna take winter time, when there's not all this stuff going on at home, where I can sit down for a couple of days.
Travel all the time,
I know, and I'm traveling all the time, and I need like 3 days, 6 hours each to do this. Because all the lists I've got the stuff typed in, and we've done most of the research, I've got a couple of other paragraphs, but the hard part is, I've got to take it, and I've got to clean up a JPEG and sit it on top of a JPEG. I've got to insert it transparently on top of a picture. Yeah, it's because I don't have the layers that Chris had. He had a piece of software to do this. I got a piece of paper, and all the different layers that went into his printout are all on top of each other.
Well, we appreciate that you're able to do it no matter.
Well, I haven't done it yet. I mean, so I'm thinking I can. I'm thinking I can. And if I can't, we'll figure something else out.
We'll punt.
Yeah.
Maybe we can
But
find
whatever. So
some
I'm still,
college kid that
Jan and
knows.
I talked about this morning, and she hit me a couple times.
We're on camera.
Anyway,
Lauren?
and then she hit me another time. I went for a ride with Joni Purinton, and what's his name?
I don't
It's all on
know, you're the
record
one
now.
that went.
I'm trying to think of his name, I'm sorry. Anyway, he's in his 90s, he's lived here forever, and we took a 2.5-hour ride around Byfield and the Academy, Dummer Academy, down in that area. We're gonna do it, as soon as we got going, because I was driving, and Sue was gonna go with, and so it was gonna be her and Joni taking notes, and then she had to cancel that morning. And so just Joni was taking notes, and as soon as he started talking, I said, oh, I should have had a recorder. Because we go by something, he says, oh, it's a little store used to be there, and there's a horse trough out in front, and about umpteen years ago, they tore that down, and the kids used to always play in the horse trough. I'm thinking, well, that'd be cool to have that. So I'm buying one, and the next time, we're gonna go do Old Town next, and kind of the rest of Newbury on the next ride.
Come on. Remember, Caleb has volunteered to go with you with the video camera when you do this.
I heard that from someplace.
Yes, he told us that.
Perhaps
Take
you're
Caleb with
mentioning
you.
it today's meeting at the town hall?
Okay,
All right, we gotta keep moving
yeah,
here.
okay, I will do that, and let him, because that was, like you said, do it on my phone. My battery wouldn't last 2.5 hours
You
on my
don't
phone.
remember his name?
Oh, no, no. I don't remember names anymore.
Okay.
You might just inquire of
He
Joni.
lived, let's see, hang on, where did we pick him up? We picked him up just north of the Georgetown line, and if I was facing Georgetown, back in here.
Richard Johnson.
Richard, thank you.
Wow,
Yes.
this was like, sounds like,
Sounds like.
He
This
should be.
is why I retired, because I
He should
couldn't do
be,
names anymore.
he should be wonderful.
Yeah, he was, all his stories were, it was just, that's why I just like, oh, God, why didn't I tape this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Next new business, Jan, the Preservation Leadership Forum? Is this anything we have to,
we need to start learning about this stuff, at least getting a handle on it. The easements and the preservation restriction thing, is that what you're looking at?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because Jackie's question brought to mind, who knows about this in this group? About preservation easements and historic preservation trusts, could we stand up and explain to someone what all this is? Because I know I couldn't.
I was just trying to,
I
and
know
I
a little
couldn't.
bit. but-
Yeah, so I found
I know
this
a little
online, and I
bit.
thought at least if we could read some of this stuff, it might give us a handle on where to go if we need to find more info.
Yeah.
So it's purely for entertainment value. There'll be a quiz next Thursday.
Yeah, like on the property on 110 Hay, they've got a conservation easement against both the house and the property. The one across the street from me, it's only on the property, the 5 acres in the back. So the house, they can do anything they want to, subject to our
So
approval.
how does that work? Do you
So
sell
when
them, do you sell them an interest in the property?
No, you don't sell it.
It's just,
No,
we're
you just,
taking
you
this?
sign up,
or
and
we
you
have-
sign the thing, and,
Okay,
it
You-
was
It was
Del
probably
Paula sold the
due
building
to-
beforehand.
You
and she-
sign over your deed to your house and your land for $1.
okay, but, so you don't pay the taxes that you would,
So
Oh,
they
no.
own it. It's like, selling your kid your old car.
yeah.
They now own your car.
Right.
You may still drive around in it, but it's theirs.
Yep.
That's what I got from just the 2 deeds.
Yep.
Because I traced the deeds back to 1847, I believe.
Mhm.
Yeah, It's
So
it's an
not
easement
subject to our
against the deed.
control,
Okay.
Hmm?
It's
Yeah.
not subject to our
Registered.
control anyhow.
I thought-
Registered.
I
As far as
thought-
demolition.
I actually thought-
No, but like anything else, if
I thought the house-
something was gonna be done, we
No.
could
They can do, okay, on the one across the street from
talk
our
to
house,
the
they can do
president,
anything with that
trustees of
5
preservation
acres.
and say, what are you
that's
guys doing?
subject-
But they're
that's
probably
relative
way more
to-
stringent
Yes.
than we are.
Farming.
So,
Absolutely.
So they can farm it, they
Yes.
could put a barn on it,
Yes, yes,
but they can't put a house on it.
right, that's
Yeah,
why they did
right.
that, the Greenbelt did that in Byfield, so they wouldn't put up 4 houses
Yeah.
on that open field
Yeah.
on Toledo.
This could never be subdivided, they hold that,
Yep,
they're on the
and
title.
it's the same thing, they can farm it.
That's what I.
They can farm
They
it,
can plant corn.
as long as, it says what you can do there.
Oh, it does.
And without,
Specify.
and if you're doing that, you don't need their permission. If you do anything above and
Anything
beyond
else?
that, then you gotta go back and get permission.
Yep,
And you might get it or you might not. They certainly wouldn't for another,
Oh, and
home.
the Butterfield thing, did you see that?
But I think one of the things he wants to do is take some of the outbuildings that are down
Yeah.
on the 1 acre with the houses on,
Probably in that pile you showed
and move
there.
them up to the farmers,
Right
farmland,
here.
because they're more,
Isn't that right, right at the
sheds.
top there?
yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
would kind of fit up to
Good
it.
stuff.
Yeah, if I was,
This is
if I
Buttonwood
was,
Museum.
Yeah.
I'd get some staples up there. Because it's perfect for, the cross fence, if you could do that.
Yeah, yeah.
And put some horses up there.
That's the museum where they had the,
Okay, I sent everybody the email about the William Moody collection at the Buttonwood Museum in Haverhill.
All right,
Did anybody make it there? I know it was only hours of notice.
No,
yeah. I was out of town.
So Jan says that it's an existing exhibit?
this is off their website.
Oh, okay. So
We could have a field trip.
I would like to do that, company field trip.
Where is it now?
It's-
Haverhill.
You have
It's in
this, it's
Haverhill.
right
I
there.
think they probably close the end of October,
For the winter?
like most of
They
them.
have it already.
wonderful and sad.
Well, you can call, I guess.
It's at 240 Water Street in Haverhill.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And there's a website, there's an email address there.
yeah.
it's right there as you come into Haverhill. Well, maybe we can find out what their,
Well, we missed the reception.
yeah, well,
We didn't get the
we only
copies
had
and
4
juice.
hours notice,
I
so.
didn't get the copy. Where's the copy? Okay. Good. So
Halfway through October. Oh, I was looking at the date.
It's 8:30. Is there anything else we need to go over? Other than, I was hoping, if there's nothing else we have pressing, maybe we should try to look at cultural, historic resources and try to figure out how we're gonna get any of this done.
Yeah,
cold on my butt.
not only that, it's just hard. There's just no,
Oh, you think it's warmer down here?
No, it's just so I can hear better.
Oh, yeah. Well, like I said, I will go into the, I wouldn't mind doing some work on that mattress again. Unfortunately, the only, I don't really know Newbury at all. I don't. And, but I would be
You
willing
mean
to,
Old Town?
whatever. You people over there. I would be willing to do the Byfield, South Byfield area and see what I can find as far as stuff that they don't have in there. Maybe I can go out and get some pictures and do a little write-up or something like that for stuff that, and also we need to find out how we get it in there, correct? Is it a process?
everything's a process, it's a
Yeah,
state.
I know what the process is.
Just what in
Do
the
we
what?
know?
I gave you a packet,
Of what? Of all
everything to do with
information?
the inventory and how
Yes.
we have to do it, what we have to do and where we have to send
I'll
it.
have to look at that, then I
It's
don't
a-
remember reading
Oh,
that.
Good thick one.
Okay.
If you can't find it,
No, I saved everything.
Sue
I
will
probably
have
just
it,
didn't read it.
or just shoot me an email and I can make a
All
copy,
right.
you can come get it at the,
Okay. So I'll see if I can find out how we get the stuff in there.
yeah, because I have to read the comments from Chris on why things aren't where they are.
Yeah, yep.
So, because I do have one other brief item, if you don't mind, sir.
Okay, then we'll jump right back to this
Yeah,
mattress.
just the house at 255 High Road with the red barn door. Are we keeping an eye on that?
Oh,
Because,
the thing is ripping everything off of it?
Oh, he ripped everything off and replaced all the studs.
yeah, but the doors have to stay there.
Well, they're off right now.
Oh, they were on when I went by the other day.
They're off right now,
So,
as we speak.
just so we know, I printed out this, which is his plan. So I will hand them after. But because that was part of our condition when we said we had no problem with them doing it as long as that same facade remained on High Road with the red barn door. And they said, absolutely no problem. So we just need to keep an eye there, I would say. Sorry, that's all I had to say on it, but.
Well, should we make sure Martha knows what's going on?
The building is.
I believe I mentioned that to her today at work. So,
Because that's terms of the development, that division and development, construction, I think that would be Martha's, well, maybe Sam both.
well, that leads us to the discussion of the fact that this group, commission, has not made or coerced or somehow mentioned to the people in the Woodbridge School that part of their ability to have built that, change that over to townhouses, was that there's a chimney gets put back on the roof of that building, and it's still not there. Even if it's a faux chimney, it was supposed to be replaced, and it hasn't. Martha tells me that that's up to us to get that enforced with the owners, because it was placed there via the Historical Commission.
too late now, they got their occupancy permit.
Well, we can still, I said, well, we can still contact them.
I would think that would have been up to the building inspector. Yeah, because if they're gonna give an occupancy permit, how are we supposed to know? Or somebody else should have been checking all the boxes.
So I would just suggest that we want to think about that, and we might want to contact whoever owns it and remind them that this is a condition, and if not, we might like to put something in the paper perhaps about it. Past things come back to haunt if we're not careful.
All right, so we make sure Sam and Martha know about the front of the red barn. Deal with existing things to start with. Can you handle that at the town hall for us?
Yes, I will send emails because I will do it as if
Okay.
I'm not at the town hall.
All right, okay. All right, let's go back to the inventory Macris database. So rewriting,
What page are you on?
sorry, page 9. So if we update this at all, as far as, if we knew how many structures were actually on the database, sounds like there's more than what they just wrote down here. Is that information we can come up with easily?
Right, you can get the number of the ones they have on there very easily. They may be correct, 118 songs.
So in other words, replace what they've scratched,
Yeah.
Just
yeah,
update it.
I know it.
just update it, okay.
Um,
Arsonage is no longer arsonage, and it's so, it's changed so much that.
Yep.
First pair, so first parish parsonage, you're saying we should take that off there?
I think so, because it's not owned by it's not a parsonage anymore, and it's been so changed that, I mean, the basic building is there, but they've added on the
Okay,
But it's in the historic district. Are we on
well, I suppose, I
First
wouldn't
Parish
call it a
Church?
parsonage, though, I would call it, three Hanover.
First Parish Church, that's the one on Highway.
Yeah, but the parsonage
Yeah, right.
is on Hanover Street,
Oh,
was
okay.
on Hanover Street, the second one in.
Oh, okay.
It hasn't been a parsonage for,
if that's on
30 years.
Hanover, I don't
It's
think.
number 1 Hanover.
number 3, actually.
Well, this says,
Oh.
no, I'm reading the
Oh, okay.
historic
Well, it's wrong.
district. So
Well, 'cause it's
Just
the
so
second
we're-
house in.
we know where
Well,
all the
it's Tucker's
information's
house.
coming from.
On
On
the-
High
is the
Street or Hanover?
Registry of Historic Places nomination form.
I don't know.
First house might be High Street.
No, it isn't.
All right,
Oh, I don't believe so. It might be, but I don't
But
believe
that
so.
might be the,
Oh, you might be
that's why
right.
it's one.
Mhm.
so,
But I know that the other one is 5 yet, the next one is 5 yet.
There's another house in between them, isn't there?
No. The one on the corner was not the parsonage. The parsonage was the second one in. Now, whether the first house is a High Road address or a Hanover address, I don't know, because it's on the corner of Hanover and High.
So we, other than the schoolhouse, the town doesn't own any historic assets, because they get rid of the Woodbridge School and the Yellow School, correct? Yeah.
And they tore down the snuff mill, which is also
Exactly.
listed in here.
Yep. Right.
All right, so the parsonage stays in because it's on the National Register.
What page is that?
You could put in parentheses 3 or 1 Hanover
What page you want,
Yeah, what are
Judy?
you on?
Street.
I'm
9,
on 9 is the Marcus.
under
database.
Macris. Last sentence, sorry, first paragraph of the last sentence.
So if we can get an updated number for the total count. I guess the other stuff listed on there is fine. Should it be listed that we have the Upper Green National Historic District? Should that be listed here in this list for this report?
It's,
Is it in, Matt?
it's on the,
Is it in papers?
10.
It's on the next paragraph, next, Newbury Historic District is what is
Okay, so
right
it's,
below.
That's
So
on,
it's on
that's
page
the
10.
state register. But
Oh,
not be
national.
on,
Oh, you're talking
might be
national.
on, not be on Macris.
Mm.
it's, the historic district's listed on the bottom of page 10, the next page.
That's the State Registry of Historic Places, is table C1, that's the first one. The second one is, on the next page, is the National Historic Registry, which is on page 11, which is table C2. So as you can see, just by what we're talking about now, if you'll pardon the C words, C1 has a lot more things listed on it than C2. One is the state, one is the
Yeah.
federal.
Yeah.
And Macris is in that back table, which starts on 20,
So Martha was talking about taking the Little's Lane house off, but the one that got demolished isn't even on here.
right.
So there's nothing to change there. So Schedule C1, there's nothing to change. State. So we should check that off as written. And, okay, while we're on roll here, is there anything that needs to be changed on C2? Page 11.
It's Parker Street, not Parker Road, you know that.
Okay, edit. Okay,
What about May's house? Shouldn't that be
May's
somewhere?
house should be on, actually, yeah.
It should be, yeah.
What's May's house?
Five
Talk,
Hanover,
so the rest of us understand you.
Sorry, yeah.
5 Hanover Street. It's a first period house, actually a first period house.
but is it on either of the lists?
It is one, it's supposed to be on one of them. This State Historic Registry does not have it, and it is on it. It's on the national, I thought.
It's on Macris too. Atkinson?
God bless
Hanover,
you.
1652, it's listed there, and they probably have a picture, so they can,
Oh, because see, it's part of the Historic Registry. If you'll notice the historic, it says Newbury Historic District, 40 properties on High Road, Green Street, and Hanover Street.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so on Hanover Street is the parsonage, the Atkinson Little House, which is 5. And is that not it?
That is it.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
that's okay. It's because you see a one-liner that says Historic District on that.
Right.
But I've got the
That's 40
registry
properties,
thing in my
right.
hand, so,
So it's covered by the district.
correct.
It's federal district.
But I think it might, be advantageous if we have somewhere a caveat to say, see list on,
It should. Well,
Right.
can't we just,
Individual homes, yeah.
what about the map? Is there a map or a list that we can just,
yeah, we have a list. There is a
should be,
list.
or should we just copy, put the map in here?
Map's too confusing, I think. Is more confusing perhaps, because all it's got is numbers.
And then you
So-
have to refer back.
It's a two-parter.
Yep.
This is the application for the National Historic Registry, which I found in the library, I think. No, I printed it off Macros,
The website,
the
yeah.
thing. So here's the list, 1 to 40, there's 40 houses, and 3 structures. The fruit stand, which is no longer there, which I believe was right next to the Citgo station, which isn't a Citgo station anymore. But this is how it was locked in. The names are locked into the registry this way and on this map.
Well,
And here's the
that-
map with all the numbers.
Well, give both to Martha and her board. and
Yeah.
The list and the map, and say that we think this, just the listing of 40 properties in one line, we want it listed out as what the houses are. That's part of our culture.
Yeah, and what's so,
It's an important part, so it's the only district and national district in our town.
it could simply be put as an asterisk, say, see list on, and we could put it at the end, or whatever works the best instead of a big interruption.
I'd just add it right to it, but that can be up to them, they'll do whatever they want. So is this stuff to do back to page 9? Is this stuff for Caroline to do for next month's meeting? I know she's working on houses, but is there anything that Caroline can do to help us get ready for this next month?
Well, you've been on Macros. I gave lists of what was on Macros,
Yes,
all right?
and I did the back and forth with the registry of deeds, and I found houses that should, I think, be on there that are not.
So that needs to be typed up in a list
Okay,
and say these houses, this date,
yep,
at this place.
yep.
That would be the first step to getting them on Macros to start with.
So you're saying there's a list of applied houses
There were a whole bunch that weren't on our
that
map,
haven't gotten on there?
that she and Richard were calling out.
Well, she went on the registry and looked at different houses that they know, because see, she and Sue
Yes,
know the
right.
area.
Yeah,
Before it
well,
was-
some of these are old period houses with the big
The
fireplace in the
Toppin
middle
House,
and,
number
you know,
5 High
the
Road,
box shape.
this first
Yeah.
period.
And they were, it was fun
And you
listening to the
wouldn't
two of
know
them
it,
arguing about
you know,
where the
that it
houses
was-
were and stuff like that. I wish I
that.
You'd have to
did
go
that.
back to the list.
Yeah, so let's get the whole list on there.
It's fun being
And
somebody
they,
that.
you know, they can refuse us. We could.
So,
Do all this
so we're
stuff.
back to that discussion.
No, we're not.
It's
jumping. Stay-
Are we on the National Historic Registry that it should be a big, long list and not just 840 properties? Is that?
Yes.
It's fun seeing
Okay.
that. She's always the authority.
I'm just trying to keep up with some notes here. So
So-
as far as Carolyn is concerned,
Yeah.
excuse me, I gave all of us a list of the stuff on Macros for our summer vacation work. And,
What I did in my summer vacation.
can we all, like, this is the reading list from the book reports. So
Winter is my vacation. I'm always busy in the
the
summer.
list we need to check the list that we all got against this, so if Carolyn, if you and Sue, or if Sue wants to help,
Yep.
can check what's on this list against the list that's literally in Macris,
Yep.
and see what's missing.
Right.
Now, all these missing streets, high roads and main
Yep.
streets, if you did you keep a copy of that stuff you gave me? You did, right?
I gave you the list of all the.
You gave me back all the
street-
Macris.
The street numbers in Byfield.
Yeah,
yes.
did you keep it? A copy of it?
No.
Okay, I'll get you a copy.
All right.
We need to also have someone do some of the high road ones, because,
Yeah.
and Green Street, you know,
Yeah. Although they seem to have more of the numbers listed for Newbury than they did for Byfield, the street numbers. I don't know if they're right, but they seem to have more of the street numbers listed there.
I think a whole lot of things just got sent in, and I don't know that somebody checked them personally, but I wasn't there, and at least they did them,
Yep.
which is more than we can say for any of the groups I've been with yet, myself included. So we need to check what's in the thing that Martha gave us against the
Yeah.
lists that are in Macris. So
Yeah,
if
I'll
someone will pick a chunk of place, you guys already did a lot with the,
Town
so
of
we
Byfield,
can
yeah,
see
we
what
can do
numbers
some.
are on, like these Main Street houses, and then,
Yep, we had those, yep.
So you're proofing table C1 is what you're trying to do against Macris?
C3,
Proofing in the back,
the
Right,
Macris, actual Macris stuff.
yep.
to make sure it's actually lines up with the
See all the stuff that
Macris.
starts with NEW, which is Newbury, oddly enough.
I printed off every single one of them.
Okay.
And I gave them back to Jim.
I mean, now we have the sawmill,
Yes.
the snuff
I just
company
went back
sawmill,
and forth with the,
MIA, right?
because there's pictures.
Depends on which one, there's seven,
They're
like seven of
50
them.
years old, too, which is
So-
kind of
So you gotta make
fascinating.
sure you got the right
50-year-old
one.
pictures, so,
Yeah, because
So
I visited with Joni and Richard, one
We'll
of the
get you
stuff's
the
in the house.
information. You can verify that one.
We drove around,
Okay.
and she knows Byfield pretty good too, so we said, okay,
Because
that's,
that's a
okay, that's
different-
14 Main Street or something like that. And then they kind of went in a row, you know what I mean? The next one they took a picture of was the next number. And they also have, I'm sure they have it for Newbury too, they also have a hand-drawn map with numbers on it. So you can almost, you can, I don't know if I have a copy of it here, it's kind of hard to read. But they have, number one, and then you see it's Main Street. It's not a bad likeness, but it is hand-drawn. Here it is. See, that's the map they have for Byfield Center. So then you can connect it to the actual house they have. You look at that number and you pull up the number in Macris and say, okay, that's that one, and the one next door, I could have made it bigger, but I didn't. So I'm sure they have one for Old Town, and they probably have one for Plum Island too, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm thinking too. 'Cause
Yeah.
Mine's hit or miss, but I'm like, it's like, how do we put it together with both? Exactly what I really,
Yeah,
I'm gonna.
so like I said, that, almost all the ones, when they did, it was 1967, so it's 50 years ago. It's kind of cool looking at the pictures, even 50 years older
Is-
than, what you see now.
Is there anything else in the cultural report
I
that we
have a
can?
question, yeah.
Yes,
The scenic byways are the roads. There's a set of roads in Old Town that the inhabitants of Newbury secured in 1914 that have just been kind of forgotten. But should they be denied, the people? I mean, if they want to walk them, if they're going to, should they be recognized as they're there, just so they're somewhere recognized?
Where are they?
They're right all through Old Town.
Can you give an
Yeah.
example so we
I
can kind
can,
of follow you?
I actually brought the book because I couldn't print anything out. And I'll show you where the roads are, and I'll show you the document that the inhabitants, when they changed from a common pasture to a general pasture in 1914, they secured all the roads by vote. And all the roads, I tried to print it out, and I think it just was not working. What's that? In the circle, it shows this is a mass overlay. You can see all these little lines.
Oh, is it?
All these roads
It's a-
were secured in this document right here. And none of them have been discontinued, although Emery Lane was made right here, reserving Canadian highways. And I just don't, even if it's a walking, if it's open to trails, or, it just seems like they were reserved by the people in town, and now they're just, unless zoning changed that.
Where are they? I mean, you say Old Town, I mean,
They're
out
all
in,
Old Town Hill.
on Old Town Hill.
Yeah, but are
See
they,
here?
I don't know,
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know where that is. Oh, here, I
See?
see the river, okay. Okay, where's
This
where's
is
Newman?
This is Newman Road.
Oh, way up there, okay.
This is Newman Road.
Oh, God, okay.
So they go all over, they go through, there's actually another one in here that you can see on another
This
map.
goes right through the mansions.
Well, and it goes down to the river, this
Yeah,
is
well,
now, you could see where it used to be,
Yep,
the
he-
trustees have just like rolled
Yeah,
over.
he thinks he owns that, I think.
Well, see, and but they don't, this is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
Yeah,
And to have them all shut off, and there's no trespassing signs, and they're really not.
Right, right. they're supposed
So
to
I'm
be
not
open.
saying that we should publicize them, but should it be recorded somewhere where they reserve them?
Well,
And then they give a list of where they all
When was
are.
that written?
1714, when,
That's right
it's
here.
when they were a common pasture.
Yes.
And the general court, actually, it was the general court ordered that every town lay a road to every original lot laid. And at the same, and if they said, if you don't do it, if the town doesn't do it, the court was gonna send a representative to do it. Well, the town did do it, it took them a year to do it, and that's when it became a general pasture and not a common pasture. That's when they divided it all out and gave it to proprietors. But they reserved the rights, they reserved the rights and the greens. And then they had to take the vote, and they voted to reserve convenient highways through all that land.
Do you
So
think
this
this was a state
This
thing?
is
I mean, all
you
the towns
typed
had to
this
do it?
up from reading?
No,
that
this
thing,
is a
or-
book that I got out of the library in Newburyport, and then I totally have,
Typed it all up?
right here. No, I took a copy of
You
it,
did.
but then, no, it was alterated, and it tells you right here on the first page how it's been altered to somebody's own cause. So I took the original record, which is all handwritten,
Yeah.
and made all the corrections.
This would be
And they
interesting.
conveniently left the word "not" out. That it says the inhabitants do not give the land over, or do not, no, give the land but not the roads. And they conveniently left the word "not" out, which cost them $300,000 in land court.
So if you could take this and blow this up and lay it over a Google map, it would be, so you could see, unless they've done it.
That doesn't show all of it. This one does, but it's so small. Here, we can blow it up maybe. I've got actually full sizes of those. But I just think it's important because it's public land. It was reserved for the
Looks like the
residents.
ways to the water in
And
Newburyport.
it should not be forgotten.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, did zoning change that? When they
Right,
adopted zoning, but
right.
That would be a
That's
good
amazing
question
research.
to ask at town hall.
Great job.
Maybe Martha can direct you on that one.
yeah, probably have
the,
That certainly has something to do with what she was talking about. Highways.
that road, well, one of those was first laid in 1654. The first one was legally laid, down off of Plummer's Lane and Low Street. But not the location they have Plummer's Lane and Low Street right now. It was further
Happens a
up.
lot. doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it's further up.
So
And
it's
it was
hard to
laid,
keep
it was
track of
laid
it.
as a road to get to the spring, to water the cows, in the common pasture. And it was, the land went from Short's land, and eventually it became Short's land. Eventually, Melrose. But I just think it's important that they're at least there.
We'll write up a blurb.
And it can go in
But that's what we're
goals,
looking for, right?
goals and recommended strategies
Excellent.
to
And-
investigate and establish,
Yep.
and make up a blurb.
And even the road itself, when you walk it, the foundations that are left, the 1724 Pike House, the foundation, you can openly see it. You can see the new construction and an older construction.
This is
You
off,
see where
off the road?
Off
This
the,
pathway
well,
you're
it's a
talking?
pathway,
Yeah,
yeah, off the road. And you can see where the chimney has collapsed. And you can look down in the well. You can see where the other outbuildings were still to this day. And to have it would be
I know.
a travesty to have somebody blow a road through there.
Yep.
And the same train would be so neat to excavate it out.
You probably need to have that in there, 'cause
Well, there's already a thing in
Well,
here,
that's right, I know. Well, I don't know.
20. Under goals and strategies, even under goals and strategies, preserving scenic roadways. Well, I guess that's how you started this
Yeah, I
conversation.
wasn't
Yep.
sure if it was
Okay.
the scenic roadway meant just like high roads, but
Right,
established
just a
roads,
walk
because this
on.
road is clearly off the beat path.
So-
So underneath it is for one, it's protect, maintain scenic roadways and viewscapes. Read that section.
Right, I
And
think
see
maybe
if you
back
can make
there
a
was one.
blurb into that to say
What page is it?
for
We're on
19 and
20.
20.
We can also, just on page 20, under 5.1, we can also continue to report what we're doing for preservation of town documents in the books that they're scanning out of the safe, and what's being done there.
Yeah, it's actually.
Neat book.
That's probably something you can spin right onto that.
What do we have, 75? You used to have that number burned into your brain.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was $60,000 or $70,000.
All right, so I'll get a better set of paperwork together for that vote and
But
stuff.
the time's gonna be important, just write a blurb
Okay.
for us to add on there. We'll submit that. Well, the air conditioning's working well in here. I don't know why they have to fix it.
or is it so cold?
It's
Just
cold, it's cold. I think
It's gonna
we've,
get down to 32 tonight, so it's
I
probably a
think
little.
we've done all we can do tonight.
So I guess what we're shooting for is we should be reading this first. Finding an area that you go, like Eva goes, oh, but what about? And now, go
Well,
on
and
it.
I think the cultural resource, from trustees or from the others, none of those are listed.
Yeah,
Maybe it's because it's privately or, owned by an organization, but if we could submit just theirs, we'll
well,
just
we
solicit.
don't need to do that because we already gave that to Martha.
Oh, so she's
So
gonna,
she wrote that all down, so
Okay.
it's one less thing we have to do.
okay.
So you do the common thing there, and Jan's got a couple things she's working on, Caroline.
Yeah, we're gonna work on macros and
I'll
stuff.
read it and see what else I can do with it, but I don't have much time to work on it.
You told me they won't let companies walk out there, right?
The lots that I live on now, to Jack,
Oh.
James Jack, and where I am now, so the first two
Yeah,
lots
I
listed.
also, Lon, I need you to either send me or something, the list of where the books are. You brought them in when we were in the old town hall. Showed us what they all look like, the preservation stuff. Remember we picked out the binders and all that, and the books, the box books?
Okay, you're talking about the folders or
Yeah,
whatever, yeah.
the
Show where those are?
actual
Oh, sure, they're in the
materials.
closet there, yeah.
Yeah, so can you send me or bring me or something that, choices that are out there, so I can look at it and give you an idea what
Oh,
we
the kinds
want?
of boxes to
Should we
get.
just, we didn't vote to approve the treasurer's thing, and do we want to approve a certain amount of money to get supplies, or
Actually, if you
just
type it
get
in,
some?
it'll give you
Make
options, I'm
just
pretty
do the
sure.
motion.
MAC.
It's, about maybe approved 300, it can't be that much.
It's
$300.
actually.
I mean, it can't be that much, is what I mean. Up to,
Just make
you
it,
gotta tell me how many, I'll bring it over to work and show you where you are.
I don't know the computer.
I'm gonna look that over again, and maybe I should look up with you and see
Ladies?
if we can do that in the town. I don't understand so much how to do it, maybe together we could.
Yeah, we could go to the library.
We need a motion
we need
to
two
accept the
motions.
treasurer's report.
I make a motion, we accept the treasurer's report. as
Eva,
read.
Eva on the second, all in favor?
Aye.
And we need a motion, Lon, make a motion.
To make a
for the-
motion to be authorized to spend up to $300 to buy boxes, and I'm gonna go over with Jan, and tissue paper, go over with Jan the types of boxes and how many we'll need, but I know 300 will be
Special
more than the
archiving,
cost.
special storage archiving boxes. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Second on Nancy. All in favor?
Aye.
And we already voted on the other thing,
To buy the
to
books?
buy the books.
Yes, yes.
Yes, oh, you did that. Do you want to, should I get the flag now, or just, if they're readily available, the Newbury flag?
Get a new one?
Well, I heard it was trashed.
It's faded,
It's
badly.
faded.
Just
Oh, they
faded.
feel
Oh.
awful.
Should I get one? Apparently I
Yeah.
can get them at the library.
Yeah,
I mean, we could do some of that stuff in the spring. We want to look,
Yeah,
you
there's
guys
no
want
hurry.
to price out a flag? Oh, we've
That-
got
Oh,
it.
and I'll
that was
get
a whole
both flags
research
together.
project before.
We got those.
What?
So,
Getting the
We're talking about getting.
13-star
Oh.
flag or whatever it is. So
1900 flag or?
Yeah, we should discuss,
35.
did you say that
35.
to everybody or just me?
Chris, Chris and I,
1877.
yeah.
Well, how many
It
states
was-
we had in
It was gonna be
1877?
like $300 to get that flag.
Oh, to get one with
To
the
get-
1877 full
Yeah.
state.
30.
Well, he got one, Chris got one.
He got it,
The
didn't he?
tape- Is it that it
Yeah, but
costs
that's
that
a
much?
cloth, a nice cloth one. Do we not want a cloth
That's not
one
gonna
hanging
go out on the pole.
outside?
All right, just get whatever's.
Oh, okay.
And as far as we know, there is no ordinance on
No,
how many
one-
stars
no.
you can have. We even asked Don,
Okay,
because he
good.
was
I
there
didn't
that
know
day,
No,
and said, do you know anything veteran rule that says we have to have
no, I
the?
remember Chris saying, it doesn't matter, once the flag is made, you can hang it anywhere or anytime.
Can I have a recommendation, a motion to adjourn, please?
Wait,
Uh,
when you're ordering the archival thing, can you order some, like, things to display a book?
Oh, to stand up,
Stand
those
up.
stands?
Easels.
Okay, sure. Oh, just display it open or closed?
Yeah, open,
Open, okay.
yeah, a few of them, so we can
Okay.
have some of
They're
those.
plastic, that shouldn't be too
Yeah, yeah.
expensive either.
I
Okay.
have,
Include that.
at my store, I have the antique metal ones, if you want something that looks nice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, whatever,
Oh, you got them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah, well, whatever.
Yeah,
So
on
include
something.
that with the other thing.
okay.
Okay, motion to adjourn, please.
I make a motion.
Second.
Eva on the motion, Lon on the second, all in favor?